And we're live. Woohoo!
Hello, good to meet you, Anita. This is amazing. We've already talked pre-show a little bit, so thank you for being here.
Tim, Christelle, I'm so excited to be here with everyone and have a really engaging conversation. I'm excited.
Okay, so for anybody who hasn't heard about you or your book, who is Anita Yokota? Is it Yokota? It's not.
Yes,
Dakota,
you said it correctly. Yes.
Anita Yokota. Who is Anita Yokota?
So I am Anita Yokota. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist turned interior designer, which everyone is usually like, that is such a hard pivot. But then when you think about the two principles, it makes a lot of sense, right? So I now do a lot of interior design, renovations, but I have the therapy-minded perspective when I help my clients, because as you probably know, in different levels, when you're renovating, it is so stressful. And just even styling a room or not knowing where to start with your living room. So I put my therapist hat on quite a bit.
Okay, I could go so many places with this because in my mind, I'm thinking peace, tranquility. So let's start with this. What is the first question you ask your clients to kind of get in alignment to what their needs are in this capacity?
I really love that question because this is what really sets my perspective apart. Usually a designer comes in, what's wrong with the cabinets or the functionality or the aesthetics? But what I love and what I need essentially from the client is who lives in this space? You know, what is the emotional climate in this home, in this space that you're happy about, that you're not happy about? Are you and the kids constantly yelling at each other at the front entry or the garage door because the backpacks and the shoes and the baskets are all, you know, it's a jumbled mess and every day it's like, we're late, you know, is that the kind of dynamic you have in this space? Is your bedroom really bland and you want to spice it up for you and your partner? Are the bathrooms so small you're elbowing each other so you're grumpy and grouchy in the morning and you don't want to be that way with your family? So those are the questions I ask. And then what's really interesting is when I'm informed of the relationships in the home, then it's easier to inform myself of the aesthetics and design, because then the functionality answers are kind of primed. And the aesthetics, like I want a more energetic room, I want a calmer room, those all kind of fall into place.
So what is the unique aspect that you're coming from a therapist background gives you as an interior designer then? Is it that you know what sort of things cause arguments and disruption, or is it just that you're more in tune with like emotions maybe than some normal person?
No, I definitely flex my therapist like negotiating skills when two partners aren't you know, aligned on budget. All right, money's always an issue. It's reality. I have to kind of remember, oh, I remember being in the office and this was me. I was the referee. And I'm like, one of my favorite niche of doing therapy was couples therapy. So I like, you know, getting in the mix and helping people take their emotions out of the equation when needed. And then also helping them get in touch with their feelings when needed. So I think that's the skill set I can bring in as far as communication, problem solving skills, conflict resolution, even how to talk to your contractor. You know, there's a whole team that's constantly in your house when you're renovating, or even if it's not a big renovation, how do I even navigate communicating with my kids about their bedrooms? I want one style. They want Paw Patrol, you know, like, so I think it really comes down to empathy, empathizing with the other person, even when you don't feel like it, and communication.
This is so interesting. Okay, so let's do a scenario here. Let's say I want to redecorate my main room. And what I'm looking for is, again, I'm going to go back to the peace. I just want peace in my home. I want to feel it all around me. Where do we go from here? I have no idea how to decorate. I have no idea how to renovate. Where do we go from here?
So I often ask my clients who come to me with that question, how do you visualize your relationship with yourself in this space? How do you visualize it? Do you see yourself meditating? Is this like a, do you see yourself quietly playing family games instead of devices? Do you see, so that's how a family goal of yours, or do you see, how do you want to be served in that peaceful environment? So it's not just, oh, I want a peaceful environment, but what are the activities? What are the relationships that you want to flourish in this space? So really visualizing, oh, I just would love to have a cup of tea and journal in this space. Okay, that's relaxing, that's peaceful. Then it gives us something tangible to work towards. So when we think of the catch-all, like peaceful and those, okay, but kind of getting a little bit, narrowing it down more of like, but how do I want to live in this space? How do I want to feel? I want to feel peaceful, but how? Like, do I want to journal? Do I want to do some yoga? Or is this a family space where I don't want any more devices and no more TV time? I want to have some face-to-face time. How do we get there? Then that gives me an idea of, and I can bridge A to Z.
Okay, I have a follow-up question. Where does color palette come into play? Does this come into play at this point, or is this, how does that work, Anita?
So when you say, oh, I want a peaceful room, and I say, okay, how do you visualize that? Everybody has a definition of peace, right? Like for me, peace might be doing one thing, but for you is like doing another. So once we identified, I'm just going to say you want a reading corner, or, so then I can ask you more questions like, okay, we envision what kind of chair, what kind of table, and colors, generally blue, greens, neutrals like beiges and whites, creams, those are very neutral. I say, jeans go with any top, right? In fashion, same thing with paint color. Do not be afraid of blues and greens. Those actually count as neutrals. Those are calming colors. So what I like to describe paint colors as warming and instead of warming, it's energizing colors. And instead of cool colors, I like to call them calming colors. So if this is going to be a peaceful corner or room, then think of more calming colors to you. Maybe blue's not it. Maybe green is. So my emphasis is throw out a lot of the design rules that you feel like you need to have. Throw out Arch Digest, magazine-worthy pictures. I want to help you focus on what makes you feel good. And then that peaceful environment will slowly evolve and come into fruition.
I don't know how you knew this, but I do want a reading nook. So
that's amazing.
That's my dream. So.
Yeah, I have a new skill.
Yeah. What would you say is the most unusual result you've got by doing this process? So, I mean, you kind of think that you might go in and paint everything pastel colors or whatever, but is there an example of a client you work with and actually what you came up with is totally what neither of you expected just by kind of talking to them and finding out, and maybe they like red or something because they're restful color or something like that?
Yeah, so I did a whole home. There was a couple, they were both turning 50 that year. And their birthday present to each other was renovating their 1983 home that they have done nothing to. They have 3 busy teenagers. They just never had the time, but they were both turning 50. They're going to plunk down this amount of budget and they're going to redo their house. So we gutted the whole house. They knew of my home therapy method. So they hired me specifically for that because their middle son had ADD. And and he was the middle kid and, just kind of always lost in the shuffle. So for his bedroom, the mom was like, I really want to make this his space because at the time he still had the Babies R Us nursery wallpaper border and he's 16, So we took down the wallpaper. We took down it was a sunny yellow. and he loved blue. And even though for ADHD, ADD persons, we often think, oh, we have to keep everything neutral, right? We got to keep the mind calm. So we think it has to be white or creams or beige. But did you know that with ADD and ADHD persons that sometimes their brains are overstimulated in the not so great way, but they're understimulated in the positive manner. So having some color is a good thing. So we color blocked he loved blue. We did a darker blue and then a lighter blue. And then that was the whole room. We even painted inside of his closet. So when he opens up, he's more apt to go, oh, my dopamine, my serotonin is spiked, so I can feel. We wanted to motivate him in his room because the mom wanted him to organize better, right? Using color was a wonderful structure for him. And after we were done with the whole house, there were so many like home therapy spaces and moments, but that was a room where she really texted me, and we have a little family home therapy session after each time I'm done with the renovation. And he just expressed gratitude and excitement. And I felt like for the first time in meeting this family for 9 months that he kind of was gaining some confidence.
Yeah.
So that was like, oh, wow, I feel so good that I knew I had experience with ADD so that I could come in and offer that expertise beyond just regular color therapy or, maybe I wouldn't have known about how color for an ADHD person is actually beneficial. So that was great. And then I just have to add this other family we did not change the footprint of we didn't enlarge in their kitchen. It was a pretty tiny kitchen, but we were able to find a way. I moved the range differently. So the island became this huge island, and they're probably the only family I know that cooks in every day. All like they're Italian American. They cook. I just was so in awe. I'm like, can you cook for me too? Like, but their extended family for Thanksgiving, it was always kind of stressful because everybody had their special dish. And so after we did their kitchen, she called me and she's like, I can't tell you how how effortless this Thanksgiving was because of the way. And I told her, I said, it's not just because of the functionality that we moved. It's because you told me you wanted this kind of relational elevation. And it informed me in that direction. And now her kids, her 2 teenage boys, they used to eat in their rooms, watch TV. Now they're cooking with the family because they love the kitchen. They're in love with this nice, bright kitchen. So those are 2 examples where I feel like it makes me, this is why I'm here. This is why I want to do what I want to do.
I love both those examples. The idea of having community around the table in the kitchen just thrills me. But okay, I'm going to go back to the ADHD thing because we've had so many people on here with ADHD. I have ADHD. So to say, I get this, the whole dopamine thing, like we're looking for dopamine, and if we don't have it, so I can only imagine to wake up to color. This is fascinating to me. You automatically turn that dopamine on, which puts you into a mode of functionality and doing, because we have such a way of kind of zoning out, and we need that immediate dopamine. So I kind of want to go back into this.
Okay.
Maybe ask you your experience, or to ask you to dive into this more and why this works.
Well, and just visually, I don't have a picture to show you, but the blue color I use, I always like to add an undertone of gray. So that's it's colorful, but it's not primary where you're like, oh, you don't want to overstimulate your brain, but color isn't bad. So with the gray undertone, the shades of the 2 blues were definitely colorful, but it was muted so that you didn't feel like it was stark. So it was just the right dose of color for him to wake up and go, okay, I know. Okay, this is my routine, right? Like there's with ADD and ADHD, high structure is very important. We don't want to be rigid in our structure and routine, but I mean, we all thrive in structure. Okay. Like it's good for us. So with him, it was almost like after a while, you just wake up to your room. It becomes your regular room, but it's a subconscious little marker for that dopamine and serotonin opportunity. And we also placed his desk strategically in an area that wasn't too, it was a small room.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really small room.
Yeah.
And the mom, because he had ADD so severely, she had his desk downstairs in the family room. So instead of a dining table, she had a desk there because she felt like she had to prompt him a lot. And so I, in a very loving way was like, hey, let's try strategically putting his desk in a area. Let's set it up for success. So it was by the window so he could get natural light. I'm a huge fan of natural light. We need that vitamin D. If you don't have natural light, get those happy mood stabilized lighters. I have seasonal affect disorder. My husband has ADD. So we have all things going on that we really need that natural light. So, it's just being mindful of what your needs are. And that's really my passion is, again, not about our broken sinks or 1996 flooring. It's about how do we want to feel in our space, because it really impacts our relationships, right? When you're in a better mood, aren't you more patient and tolerant? And when you're feeling more peaceful, like you mentioned, Christelle, our reality is not as skewed. When we're not getting good sleep, my reality is so skewed when when I get broken sleep, especially when you have young families and your babies and toddlers and preschoolers, like that's a tough season. But then it kind of carries on, right? Do we really get our full sleep back? I'm not sure. But yeah, so our bedrooms are such an integral place to put that intentionality.
Yeah. Well, you nicely segued on to the question I was going to ask. So
it's that telepathic skill again.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Well, in terms of the different types of rooms in a house, what are the important, you're talking, you might as well carry on about bedrooms because you started on bedroom, but let's say, what are the things to consider for a bedroom as opposed to a kitchen, a bathroom, and just a general living space? And obviously there's going to be different considerations for each of them.
Yes. So I have 4 domains in my method or how I think about helping people in their homes. And there's an individual domain. So when I mean by domain, I mean layers. So in any space, there's different purposes and layers that you want to attach or identify. And that will help you, Christelle, going back to that question of like, where do I start? So you look at a space and you go, so my 4 domains are individual domain, communal domain, organizational domain, and renewal. So individual is in any space. Is there a way I can create that reading corner? Or is there a way I can create something that's just for me? In the kitchen, I've helped many busy moms create a little corner where they have a basket of their healthy snacks, a journal, a candle. So when they want to reach for those cookies, their kids' pantry, they know, okay, I'm going to train myself to come to this little corner. That's my individual moment. The organizational domain is usually more like closets, drawers, countertops, and that's a way to get yourself and your family organized, right? We all know that's so important to do. Organization reduces your blood pressure. It staves away anxiety and depression. Clutter can really increase your anxiety, as we all know, right? It's just not fun to look at, but then we get overwhelmed, we procrastinate. That's another conversation. So then communal is generally your open, your like living rooms, dining rooms, kitchens. Those are your everybody together spaces. And renewal is probably more towards your bathroom or self-care moments where You've done all this work, right, of investing spaces into yourself, which is more self-exploratory, like therapy for yourself. Communal organization, that's very outputting, right? You're trying to invest in your relationships in the family room, dining room, kitchen. Organization, that takes a lot of effort to organize things. So I see it as a therapeutic process. You're doing your work for yourself, for others, organization. Renewal is the place to just self-care and relax. Mm-hmm. So when you start, you kind of look at, well, what domain do I want to emphasize? So for your calming main room, which domain do I want to emphasize? And that also informs then your colors, your furniture, your furniture plan, all those things.
Interesting. Okay, so let's go to a new topic. I love tiny homes. Are you seeing a rise in tiny homes at all? I mean, we're kind of we both live in the same vicinity. We're in a weird place, so I don't know that I've seen it a lot, but it is a hot topic and it's actually a dream of mine. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Have you seen tiny homes and have you had experience with this? What do you do with a tiny home?
So I think back even in the 2010s, like tiny homes have been a hot thing for a while now. I've seen for designers, we've seen a rise in ADUs. So turning garages into workspaces, turning garages into mother-in-law suites, or just office. Especially with the pandemic, I did a lot of ADUs because so many people were working from home. So when you talk about tiny homes, I would say that's been going on for a while, but I've seen a huge surge since the pandemic, work from home spaces. Whether it's creating a shed, a she shed. Remember for a while?
I've seen this. I've seen people are bringing sheds in.
Yeah. So I think because of the work from home dynamic, I've helped a lot of families and homes create some extra work from home spaces. That's probably the biggest surge and trend. And I find it really interesting how like a lot of companies are saying come back for a hybrid schedule or whatever. I work from home. I long for an extra space. I've got 2 dogs, 3 kids, husband. So I wouldn't mind a hybrid situation. Of course, I know for other people it's different circumstances. But yeah, so I think ADUs are on a rise and just work from home spaces, having that separation of, because it blurs, doesn't it? It blurs and it's not always healthy.
Let's talk about this then, because what is the importance of, if we can and it's possible, separating your office space if you work at home and your home space?
There's some really easy things. So I set a schedule. First of all, it's very important to me because I've noticed it, is I have to dress as if I'm going to work. You don't have to do this every day, but maybe on some important days where you have some calls and, or it really helps you put your mindset. It's like making your bed every day. It just helps you set yourself up for success because you're putting on that mindset. To me, as a therapist, intentionality is everything. We intend as we go. So even it's like fake it till you make it, right? If you intend for that goal, you don't give up, no matter how hard it is. And you want to give up on some days, but if you put on that outfit or whatever, it kind of puts a pep in our step. So I would say if you work from home, definitely don't always be in your sweats and leisure wear, because I've been there. I go down that road.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then be very organized in the spot that you work in. So for me, I had to migrate because I had 3 kids on Zoom class and everything. But even though I migrated, I always had a laptop bag with all my essentials. And I also had a little cart that I would wheel around the house that had my design boards and tile pieces and everything. And then I had a set schedule of when I said work is done. So for me, during the summer, it's always 5 o'clock. During the school year, I still have a 9-year-old. So at 2:30, I have to really hustle because by 2:30 I have to go get her. And I know after that it's done. My day's done with work because I'm so busy with them. So really exercising a structure and routine with some organization. Like if you have a lot of devices, Amazon is crazy. They have so many amazing organization, like, and it's not expensive. So it's like device. I mean, I'm sure you guys all seen like the zip tie Velcro things. But Amazon also has these little kits where you put all your things in one thing, like just trying to be as organized as you can. Like every item has a home, put it in there, have a routine so that when you're done with work, boom, 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 I put it in a closet so I don't even see my work bag or little trolley thing. Because I just try to keep it as separate as possible so that you don't have burnout, because burnout is a real thing.
Okay, let's talk about your book.
Okay.
Because you were holding up your book in all of the pictures I was seeing. So, who is the intended audience for your book? Is it people who are looking to design their home, or is it more kind of broad audience of people?
So I would say my book it's whoever is looking for intentionality in their life.
Yeah.
And we're using the home space as our practice ground. And so I love tangible things because sometimes I get kind of concrete, and I love takeaways. When I was a therapist, I always try to have my clients feel like, okay, they didn't just talk 45 minutes. And then the worst feeling is when you get into your car after a therapy session, you're like, I talked and talked, but wait a minute, we didn't get to the juicy part of what to do. So my intentionality for the book was obviously design aficionados who love design, but also looking for something a little meatier, where it's like, how can I explore my individual self, my relationships through my home? Like that's a very intriguing idea. And that I think is it can be a 20-some-year-old who has an apartment, because I have a lot of DIY tips for renters and people who don't own. I also have renovation inspiration, but throughout weaved in the book is really on a deeper level of how do we be our authentic selves? You know, this is something that since the pandemic, we realized, man, our homes, it can really serve us if we intend it to be.
I think this is the question of the season. How do we be our authentic selves? And it sounds like you've integrated that into the home, but it's a bigger picture too. Like, how do we show ourselves in the world as our authentic self? And does that actually start in the home? Is that part of your process here with the book?
Absolutely. And when I say practice ground, that's what I mean is,
okay,
it's not a light switch, right? Like to be authentic, our authentic selves, we first have to do some work, and that work can be really vulnerable and scary. It's not fun facing our own weaknesses, or, you know, Brene Brown does such a great job in talking about shame. And for me, coming from an Asian American background, perfectionism, being very externally motivated, that was kind of how I was raised. And it's not all a bad thing, but really for me, therapy integrating internal motivation, which is, oh, when I eat healthy, I feel better. It's not, oh, if I eat healthy, that means I can lose 10 pounds or I'll look better on camera. Or it's like really digging deep and learning to accept myself, and being okay with vulnerable to my family members who are safer people to me. And our homes it's like this holding space for us to practice that. There's no way you can just go out there and be authentic. There's some work involved. And so for my book, going back to your question, that's what I wanted people to use the book as, is this is kind of a guide. And I give very physical, concrete tips, but through those tips, I want to help people feel more safe to be vulnerable at home, because when we do that internal work, then we can go out into the world and truly be our authentic selves with that confidence. You know, you can't be truly confident without doing some work inside.
Okay. So how can people who are intrigued by your therapy interior design, how can they get in touch with you, and how can they find out more about you and your book?
So I'm on Instagram, and my handle's at Anita Yokota. I have my website, anitayokota.com. I'm starting TikTok more, so if you want to visit me on TikTok, I'm at The Home Therapist. That's my handle. And I am very active on Pinterest. So if you want to pin my projects and designs and ideas, you can find me on Pinterest as well.
Anita, this has been absolutely fascinating, and I've learned a lot that I want to take with me into space and just kind of take what your tips with me. And I think a lot of other women and men as well will want to take some of these tips. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. Viewers, thank you for watching. We'll be back, I think, next week, right, Tim? Are we?
Yes. We're interviewing Donna Kendrick next week, who's a grief expert on grief. So,
oh wow, good.
We go off all on different topics.
Yeah.
So
we have a theme happening here. So, Tim, thank you. Anita, thank you.
Thanks.
Just have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Bye.
This is what God requires.